This is Atlanta's new underground station.
How you doing? This is Wood Harris.
Hi, this is Jasmine Guy.
What's going on in Atlanta? This is Clifton Powell.
Hey guys, it's Niecy Nash from TV Land's The Soul Man.
This is Cat Williams.
Check this out. This your boy RL from NEXT.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Lunel.
What's up, ATL? It's your girl Ken of Atlantic Records.
Hi, I'm Taraji P. Henson.
WBS 87 Atlanta, WAEN FM Atlanta, WBHH, and on iHeartRadio, home of the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey, DJ Rollum, and the Wake Up Ladies. Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives. Streaming online at BeatBreakRadioFM.com. Download the TuneIn app to hear Beat Break 87 FM on your mobile device and listen to the Beat Break Morning Show. Weekday mornings only on Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives.
What's up, ATL? Make sure that you check out the D Hill Radio Show on Beat Break 87 and BeatBreakRadioFM.com.
Hey world, it's your man Precise, and I have great news. The Precise Music app is finally available for your iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry through Amazon and other app stores. That's Precise Music. Music is spelled with a Z. Go get it for all things Precise. Powered by BlackVibes.com. I tried to put it off, but I can't. It's on me. Tried to blame the other man, but I can't. It's on me. Stay in tune. That's Precise Music. Music is spelled with a Z.
He has performed on stage in front of thousands of poetry lovers. He has sold out shows and rocked the crowd with the best poets in the industry. Welcome to the stage, spoken word artist, Patrick Duncan, better known as the Preacher Man.
I am Benjamin P. Montgomery. I invented a boat propeller. I am the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela!
Critically acclaimed spoken word artist, poet, writer, and the creator of Black on Purpose poetry TV series Wordplay. Patrick the Preacher Man Duncan is coming to a venue near you.
Why is the only time we can come together as a nation is when there are acts of insanity, chaos, or devastation.
Stay tuned to Beat Break 87 FM for updates on Patrick Duncan's upcoming arrival to your city. Visit cdbaby.com/CD/Patrick S. Duncan to order his latest album, What's Going On. Available online, including CD Baby and iTunes.
I want this high to have no affiliation to plug or party. I want this high to be spiritual.
For more info, go to BeatBreakRadioFM.com.
Wake up weekday mornings to the Beat Break Morning Show and nod your head in bed to the 360 Mix Show. Weeknights on Atlanta's new underground station, Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives. The views and opinions expressed on this program does not necessarily reflect those of Beat Break 87 FM, Reach One Communications, volunteers, staff, and management of Reach One Communications.
Who is she?
Who is this woman I keep hearing about?
Who is she? Who is she? The radio diva herself.
Oh my God, are you talking about?
That can't be her. Yes, it is, girl.
Wait a minute, that is her.
Yeah, that is her.
Oh my God.
D Hill, everybody.
I have to call somebody. This is amazing.
I still can't believe it's her.
Can I get your autograph?
You ain't making me miss her show. Ain't nobody got time for that. D Hill Radio Show with your host, D Hill.
Keep up a good job, man. You guys are doing a great job. I hope you blow up and become syndicated.
Call in at 404-355-8699 or 1-866-923-2860.
This is D Hill.
With your host, D Hill.
This is D Hill.
With your host, D Hill.
Now, here's your host, D Hill.
What's up, what's up, what's up? What's up, ATL? Thank you all for tuning in to the D Hill Radio Show, where we come to you live every Saturday night from 7 to 8 p.m. I'm so glad to be back with you all. I've been having this bad cough. I haven't been sick or anything, just this cough I could not get rid of. I still have it, but, you know, I could not stay away from you guys any much longer, so I'm just so happy to be back here on the D Hill Radio Show.
We have to have you back, D.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome back, honey. Welcome back.
I'm excited because we got a house full tonight.
I'm excited about what's happening, period, since the beginning.
Man, 2018 is going in with a bang.
A very big bang.
Wow. So tonight we got some therapists with us tonight we're gonna be talking about relationships. We're gonna be talking about a little bit of everything. So when people hear relationships counselor, they automatically think that you're talking about husband and wife, but it's boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, somebody told me people are willing to work on a relationship with a man and woman, but they're not willing to work on a relationship with another female friend. So we have Miss Charlicia. Did I say that right? I be butchering folks' name like crazy.
Miss Jackson.
Charlicia.
If you're
Charlicia.
good.
And that is so pretty.
Miss Jackson, if you're good.
That is so pretty.
Welcome, Miss Jackson. How are you?
Thank you. I'm amazing. How are you this evening? That good, huh?
It's Saturday.
Okay, you're a therapist, and you brought two of your coworkers here with you also that we're going to be talking to a little bit later.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your, expertise, and what do you specialize in for as being a therapist?
So being a therapist, you kind of have to have a jack of all trades, queen of all trades, if you want to say that. But specifically for me, it's relationships. Whether it's breakups, being together, separating, if you're actually dealing with esteem, if you're dealing with anger issues, depression, I do it all. And so it's specifically for pre-adolescents, adolescents, adults, geriatric population, it doesn't matter. I have been a part of everything. So.
Okay, and you've been doing this for like 12 years?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background. What did even make you get started into being a therapist?
That's a great question. And no one who I can say has ever been a therapist is like, I want to be a therapist when I grow up. Like, that's definitely not how that goes, because the track is so long. You want to talk to people, you know that you want to help, but you never really truly know, I want to be a therapist.
Okay.
Because there's a lot involved with that. You have to get to a point where you actually understand yourself in order to be a good therapist. So I actually decided probably in undergrad to start taking psychology classes.
Okay.
And then became licensed after, a few years you're in particular programs in school. And so then I ended up becoming licensed, certified to also do health education.
Okay.
And so now I'm currently also doing a doctorate program for promotion of health.
Okay.
And so blending all of those in together is just a whole bunch of, career education. My mom's like, where are my grandkids? Because you're constantly in school. But I definitely want to be able to serve as much as possible and to do as much as I can. So,
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you said you in undergrad is when you decided, you started to take some psychology classes. What was that moment, or if you can remember, that just did it for you? I know you could have been in the frame of mind, I think this is where I want to go, but what was that pivoting moment that drove you to say, you know what, this is what I am going to do?
That's a really awesome question, because I think every single therapist who finally decided they wanted to be a therapist had that exact moment. And for me, mine was specifically seeing myself in the issue. So when you're actually helping out, you're actually studying about the brain and the mind and how it works, and then you see yourself going into something and you realize, okay, that's me. I want to help someone understand themselves like I'm trying to work on me.
Right.
And I know that for a lot of people that I've come across that do psychology, they want to specifically work on themselves. They don't know it yet, but they're actually kind of diagnosing themselves. You're going on WebMD, you have a headache, and then all of a sudden you got something else. And that's typically what's happening when you're in psychology. You're working on you and consistently working on you, and then you get to a point where if you want to actually become licensed, then you do get to a point where you've worked on you enough to help someone else.
Okay. All right. I see here you have you specialize in psychiatric, let me see if I can pronounce this right, psychiatric trauma system. What is that?
Gotcha. So you're talking about the trauma systems therapy?
Yes.
So for me, specifically when I worked in psychiatric hospitals.
Okay. All right.
And it started with psychiatric care, where you're always off, the charts with a lot of the different things that you're doing with kids and adults. And so that's what that is.
Okay, psychiatric. Okay.
Psychiatric care, and my specific focus was sexually traumatized kids.
Okay.
And so working with that's actually the defining moment that let me know that I wanted to hone in on sexual health.
Okay.
And especially working with the clinics in Fulton County, you start to see a lot of sexual health issues, especially with our community, and no one's addressing it.
Yes.
And there's certain funding that's only addressing certain things. And so you know that you want to kind of sharpen that. And that's where I was at with psychiatric care with the sexual health, and then actually helping sexual health individuals who didn't actually have psychiatric issues.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what that is part of. But what you do is you're just working on the anger systems, triggers, coping skills, and taking all of the things that someone could actually have as boundary issues, and then kind of sharpening that.
Okay, because I know that this goes on a lot in our own neighborhood. And when I say own neighborhood, I mean the black neighborhood. We grow up being taught to brush everything up under the rug, not to talk about anything. So I think that's where a lot of all these issues come out to play as we get older. So
More
do
like
you see
if it happens, what goes on in his house
stays in his house?
Yeah.
So do you see more of it in certain races for people needing to come to you and talk to you about issues going on?
Yes. So specifically with ATL Psychotherapy and Consulting Services, that's where myself and my coworkers are from. We see predominantly African American population of all ages, and yes, within that population specifically, there is family health that is not discussed, mainly because, as you stated, that you do not talk about this. Yeah. This is in-house business, and there are a lot of generational issues that just do not get discussed because of family history or estrangement from your family. If you don't know your biological father or your mother, you can't ask those questions, and then you're not bothering to find out for yourself. So there's a lot of different things that you have going on. You don't even know that it's an actual issue. So then you get to our office, and if there's a history of depression or schizophrenia or even high blood pressure, you have no clue, because there is no kind of conversation that's actually happening that would be helpful for us and for the person for you to actually work on.
Okay, so how do you get people, once again, I'm going to say us, black folks, to come out and talk to a counselor or a therapist? Because, you know, the first thing your family going to say, oh, she crazy, she got to go talk to a therapist. What's like the first thing that you do to get us to come out and talk to a counselor or therapist?
Well, the strongest thing that we're using now, and especially for myself, is word of mouth.
Okay.
Because if we know that we've helped someone who actually has broken down that stigma, oh, this is just for crazy people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just something that they do, and I ain't a part of that. If you can actually get through that barrier and talk to someone and have them understand that that's not what this is, it's actually for just improvement, for growth.
Okay.
If you have any goals to improve yourself or empower yourself to do better, then that's exactly what therapy is for. And so if that person believes in it, then they can tell someone else, and we have a responsibility to give them a good experience so that we do have other people that don't believe in it that can actually start to. Other than that, it's marketing into places that you know you might be heard, like schools and other different universities and other different places of business. That would be where we start, and probably being able to be on a radio.
All right. I hear you.
I have a question. You mentioned the word growth, and you mentioned the word empowerment. Could those be the reasons? Could it be that we are afraid of that as to why it may be so taboo in the black community? Because I know with growth, you're going to be inconvenienced. There are going to be some growing pains. Empowerment, you may not be as confident as you should. But then when it comes to the outside audience, meaning someone else other than yourself, could be an aunt, mom, dad, whoever, could that be the reason why it is deemed a taboo thing?
Yes, and actually you're hitting on some very important points, because if you are not ready for a responsibility or accountability or ownership of yourself, then you might feel chastised if you start kind of elevating in a different light than other people that you've grown up with forever or that you work around and you love these people and they've just understood you. And now you have to admit to yourself that you need new friends. You need a new circle of people who are going to advance you to another level. And if you're not ready for that, if that actually frightens you, then you might be into a different position of, do I actually want to do this? Because I'm more afraid of leaving people behind than actually elevating to get new people on my team to actually be a part of something better, to actually admit to myself that I am in a better space. I actually have to take myself out of a comfort zone, and comfort zone is where you might have been for the last 30 years, 40, 50 years. And then being able to say to yourself, you know, this is something that I actually want to do. You have to admit that to yourself first, because other than that, we don't get to do our job to actually pull you through, because my job is not to take you and make you do something. I have to just guide you through the best decision that you want. So if you actually don't want to improve, then there's not a whole lot that I can do.
All right, so I have one last question for you. You also counsel people that are dating. So what type of counsel would need if they're just dating?
You know, I wish more people would come when they're actually dating. I think the problem is when they get to me, they've ignored the red flags. They've decided, oh, this person is exactly who I knew they were in the very beginning, and now I need your help to maybe convince me that this person isn't exactly what I'm looking at. And I'm like, yes, they definitely are. And I think the problem is that we don't trust ourselves enough to understand that those red flags actually are deal breakers sometimes. And if you can't actually admit that or get to a point where the red flag is something important for you not to move forward, then you end up in a relationship for the next months, years of time, and then you're seeing what they were and you're trying to go back to what they were rather than loving them for who they are. You're in love with potential rather than seeing that this is actually something that this is not going to move forward. So when they get to therapy, they're trying to repair something that's already broken and has been broken. This house is burned down, it's ashes, and they're trying to, rebuild it, and you actually have to have a better foundation. But it would be awesome if they did come when they were dating. That used to be a requirement years and decades ago, where you had to seek therapy before you got married, where you had to do this before you actually moved to a different step. That would be awesome.
Yeah, to
They're
bring
not
it
doing
back.
that enough.
How can we get back to that?
Great question.
That's and maybe it's an off the wall question. Maybe it's a question that you can't answer, but I think that is so important nowadays.
I definitely think so, too. I feel like if we maybe started going back into school systems, being allowed to talk about things without parents wanting to do all of the grunt work for themselves and not feeling so, threatened that someone else is coming in with a profession that may or may not actually be able to help your child move forward just a little bit better. There's a lot of red tape with that. And we can't ever seem to get into those environments to increase the ability to help with these kids. So then these dating situations turn into at-risk sexual issues, at-risk drug issues, at-risk, alcohol issues, and then they turn into, violence, and then there's domestic violence, and there's all these different problems, all because we cannot start where it could start. Spend 8 hours a day with the same people, and we can't get into that environment. That's a problem.
Well, hell, I say it's the parents that need the counseling.
We want to thank you so much for, being here on the D Hill Radio Show. We hope that you come back.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of valuable information I know that we all could use.
Well, we have next week. We have part 2.
Part 2,
we'll talk about adult mental health. Yeah. So she'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so.
Ready.
So next we're going to bring your counterpart on here. With us.
Miss Tickles.
Yes, thank you.
So that's what y'all call her, Miss Tickles?
That's her name.
Oh, Tickles.
That's her
Okay. All right, Miss Tickles. All right, Miss Tickles. Miss Therapist Tickles.
Hey, Miss Tickles. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wait till you get on the mic.
20 minutes later. Has my
No, you're fine.
I'm good. Yeah, we made some progress, Miss Jackson. We went from I'm doing to I'm good. So.
All right. So, Miss Tickles, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you for joining us here on the D Hill Radio Show.
All right, not a problem. Thank you for having me.
So, don't be nervous. We just family. We just on here talking and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So, let me ask you this. How long have you been in the field? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, wow. So, I've been in the field in different ways.
Okay.
I would say it's been about 5 years for me.
Okay.
And maybe even a little bit more. And that's starting with, of course, education and making sure, I get the experience.
Okay.
And I've played this role in a sense with working in different areas, such as even teaching, working with special needs kids.
Okay.
I spent a long time doing that.
Okay.
And part of that is the counseling and behavior intervention and whatnot.
Okay. Okay. And your specialty, is it teens?
Typically teens, young adult females. I work mostly with females, teens, children, and women, but all female issues and adult female issues and whatnot.
Okay.
Ooh, females.
If you don't mind sharing with us, what do you see a lot of that the teens are going through, especially the females are going through now?
Wow. So a lot of what I'm seeing with the teens going through is communication with parents.
Okay.
There's this disconnect at home that, they feel that, being, they can't talk to their parents, and particularly, interestingly enough, their mothers.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of mother-daughter issues and not just parents not being upfront about their experiences.
Okay.
And wanting to shelter them from that. So they're resentful because it's like, I'm dating and you have an issue with me dating, but, you had me at 16, 17, or and you're not talking about that. Or, I can't talk to you about my interest in social media because you're automatically shutting me down and not talking to me about what you know about social media, because I think most of the moms and parents are even on social media. We're in that, generation.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was one of the ones. My mom had me at 48, and my dad was 10 years older than her when I was born. So I grew up with those old-fashioned values, and I couldn't talk to my mom about anything, nothing. It was not allowed in the household. And I had a niece my age. I would go to her and talk to her. Of course, I got all kind of wrong information. And I think that it is important that you can go to your mom, your parents, and talk to your parents about any and everything.
So even with that, a lot of the sessions that I typically do include mother-daughter sessions. And interestingly enough, it's not often that I include the fathers, but not because it's not optional. It's just the turmoil tends to be between the mother and the daughter. So being able to recreate those connections and saying, Mom, let's talk to her about what she's dealing with, what she's going through. You've been there, we've been there, we know what it's like. So let's educate her, let her know what's really happening. Give her that space.
All right.
Now, outside of the communication gap, how much of that would you say is driven by mother-daughter competition? Because I've seen that, not a whole lot, as much as I've seen the communication piece of it missing, but I've definitely have seen where mom and daughter are in competition of each other. How much of that would you say plays a part?
Oh, that's interesting, because I even believe with that there's another level to it. Sometimes the competition I'm seeing is not necessarily me against you, or me versus you. It's more of I'm coming in here and I want to be the best mom ever in light of who we're sitting in front of, and I don't want to admit to my faults. I don't want to admit to where I come short. So then it's the battle between, well, she's acting in front of you, and she's not giving you everything, she's not telling you everything. So then it becomes, a versus mother versus daughter, in the sense of I can't trust her. I can't trust you. She's doing this. Let me tell on her really quick type of thing. So I think there's a different level to it. The competition. I think it's more of a who's going to be the one to tell on who each other the quickest.
Okay. Do you have any kids?
I do not. I do not have any kids.
The reason I asked you that, I understand having that open relationship with your daughter, but do you think, you as a therapist, do you think there should be a limit to what that daughter cannot talk to that mom about?
Absolutely, and that's why we're here. I believe in open communication, but I believe in open communication with stipulations.
Okay.
You know, there are certain things that we don't want to really talk to them about because that's mom's private space.
Yeah.
But being able to relate to her on a different level, being able to relate to the issue she's currently going through.
Okay.
You know, I believe there's a level of openness that has to be had.
Okay.
You know, she's dealing with relationships, dating, and how do I approach that?
Okay.
How do I approach that? But let her feel, you know, let her know I have my expectations, but still let her explore life on her own.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I asked that, because I know some of my friends, well, I would say when I was younger, some of the things they say they went and talked to their mom about was sexual things. And I'm like, you told your mom that? To me, it was more of, this is how I saw it in my eyes. It wasn't her going to her mom, talking to her mom, but it was more like being disrespectful. I would never go to my mom and say certain things about what me and my boyfriend do or things like that.
That is a conversation that my son and I, we absolutely cannot have this conversation about what you do and how you do it, because at the end of the day, I am your mom. I am not your friend.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we're not going to have those friend conversations now. Because I am a woman and my son is a male, if he comes to me with certain things, I am going to direct him to a male that is more suited to answer those questions. But certain things, son, you can't talk to me about. I won't have this conversation with you about that.
And I think the redirection in somebody that they could talk to is very important. So even if you know that this is not something I would do or something I can do or I should do, you're redirecting them to a place where they're able to talk through about these things, because a lot of it's questions. They're curious. Things are happening. So being able to just redirect them. If you have that friend that you have communication with, it's like, I'll let you talk to my daughter about whatever you need to talk to her about.
Okay.
I can't answer this, but she needs some support. And I'm going to let her have that open space with you, and we don't have to talk about it unless it's dangerous. So I think that's very important. So just that redirection.
Yeah, and outside of me just visualizing, like, ew, my child, I can't.
Yeah.
I think we have a caller, D.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm getting old. I
Sean.
forgot. I'm getting old. I'm sorry.
Sean, we have a caller?
Hi, caller. How are you?
Okay. D Hill.
Yes.
Cinda, and is that your real last name, Tickles?
It is. That is my real last name.
Okay, then Miss Tickles. That's cool then. All right, here's my question. If you've had any experience with it professionally, can you expound on what your experience has been with dealing with teenagers developing platonic relationships between the opposite sex, or just simply non-sexual healthy friendships with the opposite sex? Because every platonic relationship means without sex, but you can have a non-sexual relationship and be completely sexually attracted to somebody. So I'm differentiating for the purpose of people that are listening. Again, have you had any experience with dealing with kids like that? Do you have an opinion on how overall that's being developed in society? Teenagers having platonic healthy relationships with the opposite sex.
I have a lot of. I'm very open, especially with my clients and any teens I come across that ask me questions or that want to talk. And one of the things I encourage them to do, we talk a lot about relationships because that's their space right now. We talk about sexual relationships, non-sexual relationships. We talk about it all. And one of the things that we branch into, and I especially with my young females, is, what do you want to be known for? Who do you want to be known as? When somebody looks at you, what message are you wanting to send? And it doesn't have to be opposite sex, same sex. It doesn't even have to be in that way. It's friendships. At the end of the day, how do you want to be treated? What do you see? Who do you see yourself as? And are you portraying that in your relationship with others? So I always, even as they're telling me, I did this on, social media and did this, and, I told this girl off, and I'm like, wait a minute. What I wanted you to expound on, you had the experience with dealing with teenagers and platonic, and how they're dealing with platonic relationships. I wanted you to expound on that, like with opposite sex, like literally. What is your opinion on how they're developing as far as friendships
with the opposite sex, as far as how they find it to be valuable to them, and how they find it to be complicated for them.
I think if I'm understanding your question, you're asking me to kind of just give more information on how I work with or how I've seen teens interact with opposite sex.
As it applies to platonic relationships.
So that, and you're saying non-sexual, right?
Yeah, but keep in mind, a platonic relationship means without sex. That's true. But if you're sexually attracted to somebody and you're just not having sex with them, then it's not platonic. It just means that you're not just having sex. So that's why I differentiated between the two. But it helps a lot if teens, and I'm referencing heterosexual teens on purpose. It helps a lot if teens build healthy relationships with the opposite sex at an early age, because it helps their development into adulthood with dealing with people that they are romantically involved with, having had some experience with having a close friendship with somebody of the opposite sex that they weren't sexually involved with. So I just wondered, as a professional therapist, like, I think that's your description. Mm-hmm. What have you seen as far as that goes?
From my understanding, what I have seen is that they have questions. They are interacting with them however they feel that they should. And I'm hoping I'm answering your question when I say this. One thing that I work with and I stress is I don't care what type of relationship you have. The basis of a relationship is the same. It starts from a friendship. It starts from being able to respect yourself in that relationship. So one thing I've seen is there's a level of respect that they don't have for themselves. So when they're operating with the opposite sex, there is this, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's even, being sexually attracted to them, but not being sexually active. They're mocking what they see on the internet. They're mocking what they see on Instagram. These people that they're looking up to, that this is not reality. And so we break that down and we talk through it and, just giving them that. So that's what I see, a mimic of social media, a mimic of just, I guess, the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Wow. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're definitely going to have you back because, I'm pretty sure teens have over 1 million questions. Oh. They would, have to ask you. And once you agree to come back, I hope you will, my question to you, and we're going to discuss that the next time, what part of social media do you think play in these young folks' lives? Yeah, so I want you to answer that when we have you back. Okay. The next time, so you definitely gonna have to come back.
Okay, absolutely. That's my favorite topic. That's the first thing we talk about. Thank you for having me.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, we didn't put you on the spot too bad, did we?
Oh no, not at all.
All right. All right. So next we got Mr. Eric coming up to join us, and we're going to be asking him a couple of questions. Mr. Eric
Crawford in the hot seat.
The only male in the crew.
Yeah, it's like that even in graduate school too.
Really?
I'm gonna tell you a secret, D. When we're done, I'm not gonna reveal it here, but I'm gonna tell you a secret when we're done.
Okay, Miss Eric, you ready? You ready for the hot seat?
Yep, I hope so.
All right. So, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? You look.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you look. I would say 27.
I'm close. Yeah, I'm actually 28. Couple months shy of 29. Right. So,
okay.
Yeah, I get it a lot every time a client comes into the room. In fact, I had a client that say, kind of take a step back when she first saw me, and she said, "I thought you were 12."
Oh,
I said,
"I don't know about that."
I said, "I usually get 16, but it's okay."
You're right. Okay. All right. So, how long have you been in your field?
So, I guess I'm like the grasshopper or the young person in the group in terms of just in counseling, and that's been about 2 years on paper, right? But I've also had experience. I consider myself, I am a counselor, but I'm also a youth advocate. Okay. And I've been doing that since the dawn of ages. I wish I could tell you. Working in schools, I've also worked in crisis stabilization in a hospital. And my focus has primarily been youth.
Really? So you focus more, is it more towards boys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Primarily boys. I have female clients that are young, and I have female clients that are a lot older than I am, which is pretty awesome, too.
Right. So let me ask you this. The reason why you focus mainly somewhat towards the boys, were you like out there being in trouble yourself and you could relate to them?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I had a very scary mom.
Okay.
So she just had the look, really. My mom was very intimidating, but I lived that, I call it the black male experience, where I'm originally from Detroit, and growing up, it's just, I was often confused when I seen my peers, and also I'm a very, though I'm an extrovert, I do a lot of stuff internally.
Okay.
Even as a counselor, I'm always asking myself, was that right? Or why did I think that? And so, even as a young child, and so I wanted to, I guess counseling was a way of really delving deeper into that. At first it was psychology, and then I was like, oh, counseling is applied psychology. Let's check that out. So she talked about the moment. I had my moment, and when I was like, oh, this is what it is.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Ms. Jackson. What was that pivotal moment for you to say, you know what, I kind of like this, but this is what I am going to do?
Ooh, this about to sound bad. I was in a group therapy class, and I broke down crying. I said, I want to do this for other people. It was literally, I was in class. It was a class where, as part of, like Ms. Jackson said, once you start off on that journey in psychology and counseling, it's really self-exploration. It's you're exploring yourself. And as part of the counseling programs, you do a lot of work on yourself. And I was in class, and I said, I'm going to get in this class, I'm going to cry, I'm going to be a part of it, but I'm not. That's how I went. But then I got sucked in and was tearing up, and I said, I want to do this to other people.
So it's safe to say that your purpose is driven from your passion, which is derived from your pain?
Pain.
Would that be
my experience. And I feel like, especially when it comes to youth and people in general, because all youth hopefully grow up to be adults, I have this, I believe we all experience some unnecessary pain and hurt.
Yes.
Some of it's avoidable. I think we were joking about it earlier. There's a license for everything except parenting. And I want to, my goal, if I could say it, or my biggest dream, is to really make counseling just as common and a part of society as school. Like, just, hey, you have kids, bring them into...
It's needed.
Definitely needed.
Not when we see a problem, but before we see a problem, so we can get to the process and the habit of making counseling a part of our communities. I'm in my head, I'm a small town counselor where I'm your neighbor. And we know it, and it's not scary, and it's not taboo, and it's like, hey, that's our counselor over there. Just like you see your doctor, hey, who's your neighbor? You can see your counselor, who's your neighbor, and just trusting that your business is safe. I think that's the scary part for people.
Yeah. What do you see a lot in the young boys these days that they are needing help in?
Impulse control, emotional regulation. I think a lot of times. And I try my best not to blame parents, but I think there's this, and I grew up in this in a sense, and I guess that's a reason, another place my passion comes from. Do as I say.
Yeah.
And not as I do. Just do what I tell you the first time. No, but there's no, we're telling kids what to do, but we're not teaching them. Like, yes, there are some animals that actually come out, are born walking. Humans aren't those animals. We have to learn. And if you don't teach me how to deal with my emotions or to communicate with people or to how to work, in a sense, then you're setting me up for failure. And just yelling at me and asking me, why did you do that? It doesn't help me. Because clearly I didn't see anything wrong. So help me understand why this isn't the appropriate way to respond versus just yelling at me and showing me what I'm doing.
Wow. I can. And you know what? I don't know why I have the tendency of... And I guess I need to break myself from doing this. It's like when I meet a young man, and he tells me he's been in trouble. I'm like, for what? And my next question is, did you have your dad in your household? He was like, yeah, I had both of my parents. I'm like, really? Your dad was in the household and you still act like that? And you know what? I need to break myself from doing that.
Yeah, so even in counseling, I initially thought I would see a lot of children from single-parent homes, and I do have a large quantity, but I also have them from both homes.
Okay.
There's this phenomena, and I did a report on it at some point. But dads can be absent even while they're there.
Okay.
I think both parents. I've seen a culture of emotionally disconnected parents.
Okay.
Which I think is causing a lot of issues.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were children who didn't learn how to deal with their
true. That's
emotions.
what I was getting ready to say. If the parents need counseling, then child already messed
I get
up.
a lot of parents who just drop them off.
Goes back to the parents. I know last week, Dee, we were talking about suppressed feelings, and nowadays the young man the young male is being told, be a man, don't cry, or you acting like a, so and so if you do this and that and the third. Whereas I think the same thing happens for women as well. For me, with the things that I've gone through in my life, it took me at a very early age, with those things being told to me. It took me until my mid-30s to finally get it together. So where can we start? Or where can we begin with letting our young people know that it is okay to express yourself?
So I have 2, maybe 3 things. One, I think Ms. Tickles was hinting on it, boundaries. Like, I do believe you should communicate and talk to your children. I have a 11-year-old daughter, and I definitely believe in letting her know what's going on. What I see a lot of times is, especially in crisis stabilization, a lot of the kids said, my parents don't listen, right? Kids they don't feel heard. And because of that poor, that underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, I'm thinking of how can I be heard, right?
Yeah.
And the things that I come up with aren't the best. And so, one, setting boundaries, listening to your kids or your children. They're not adults. So that's when I say setting boundaries. Have the conversations, but letting them know this is where this conversation stops.
Okay.
Right? Setting clear expectations. Have consequences. It doesn't have to be beaten. I'm not judging anybody, but set consequences and be creative with that, and understand that your child might not look like the next child. So the consequence for this child may definitely be different from this brother or this sister who is close to them in age.
Right.
Treat them like people. They are human beings.
Yeah.
Kids are human beings. I think sometimes some of the things that I see people say to their kids or how they treat their kids, I'm like, dang. Is this an animal or is this and it hurts me, and it makes, it hurts. So treating your kids like people, setting boundaries, listening to them. Like, literally, as counselors, we couldn't do anything if the child doesn't feel like we'll listen to them. And so my first job as a counselor is to let them know I'm here to listen. I don't, like, that stuff on books that I got to type up and stuff. That's because I got to keep the job, right? But honestly, I'm here for you, and my goal is to let you go ahead and vent, because I know you don't have many other places where you can talk so freely.
So is that how you begin to break through to someone who may appear unbreakable? Okay.
And
how effective is it?
I would say
I can't think that it would be effective on every child, because you do have those one-offs, How effective is that?
Well, I would say my success rate in terms of just clients returning, and I guess sometimes I feel like maybe I just got it easy because I like kids and they like me. I've probably only had 2 clients not return, maybe 3 out of all of the clients I've seen, and it's now, I think, in the hundreds. And I've discharged people, but I think that's because I'm not. One, I don't believe I'm treating you. You're not a patient of mine. I don't even use the word patient. You're not a patient of mine. I don't think you're sick. We all have shortcomings and failings. How do we work with this?
Okay.
And I believe what you're saying and how you feel is valid. Regardless, it might be ridiculous, but it's valid.
So at what point do you just say, you know what, I'm not getting through. I can't. At what point? And that's a question I wanted to ask.
I was about to say, I might be
Jackson as well. So, I mean, do you get to that point, and at what point
I do get frustrated. Because again, with kids and especially teens, you get a lot of resistance, and we can't do the work for you. But I'm a little bit of an optimist too, so it's kind of I'm probably the worst person to ask because I don't give up on people easily. Now, if people choose not to come back, it's a spot in me like that. It's like, wow, did I not? What didn't I do? Right? Okay. But ultimately, I also have this belief they'll come back around.
Well, Eric, we want to thank you so much for joining us again. You know, we would love to have you back. We got my baby right here. I'm going to bring her up just so she can tell everybody her name. She's going to be doing a show here starting next month. She can come. You can stay right there. She can come and stand beside me. Just tell me your name, babe. I know you're nervous.
My name is Kirsten Gobert, and I'm 15 years old, and I'm in the 10th grade.
All right. Go ahead, girl. So she's going to be doing a show here starting next month dealing with teens. So we would love to have you all back. I want this to be, and also she does, want this to be a place where the teens can come and talk. Like you said, Eric, sometimes they feel they don't have nobody to talk to. So I want this to be a place where they come, and have somebody to talk to. So I'm so excited about that. Oh, yes, definitely. And thank you all for joining us. We hope that you all...
next week for part 2, mental health. And when we talk about mental health in the adult world, now that's going to be good because I have some
Yeah, I definitely need to talk to y'all because I want to be more than just y'all come back next weekend because there's a lot of healing out there that definitely needs to take place. Yeah. So we're getting ready to go into a song break right now, and we will be back shortly.
Atlanta's new underground station, Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives.
Hi, this is Clifford English, your host and producer of The Gospel Train. Join me every Sunday right here on Beat Break 87 FM radio. You will be encouraged, you will be equipped, you will be educated, you will be entertained, all while hearing the best in gospel music. Don't miss your connection with The Gospel Train right here on Beat Break 87 FM radio. BeatBreakRadioFM.com.
Hey world, it's your man Precise, and I have great news. The Precise Music app is finally available for your iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry through Amazon and other app stores. That's Precise Music. Music is spelled with a Z. Go get it for all things Precise. Powered by BlackVibes.com. Stay in tune. That's Precise Music. Music is spelled with a Z.
He has performed on stage in front of thousands of poetry lovers. He has sold out shows and rocked the crowd with the best poets in the industry. Welcome to the stage, spoken word artist Patrick Duncan, better known as the Preacher Man.
I am Benjamin P. Montgomery. I invented a boat propeller. I am the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela.
Critically acclaimed spoken word artist, poet, writer, and the creator of Black on Purpose poetry TV series Wordplay. Patrick the Preacher Man Duncan is coming to a venue near you.
Why is the only time we can come together as a nation is when there are acts of insanity, chaos, or devastation.
Stay tuned to Beat Break 87 FM for updates on Patrick Duncan's upcoming arrival to your city. Visit cdbaby.com/CD/Patrick S. Duncan to order his latest album, What's Going On. Available online, including CD Baby and iTunes.
I want this high to have no affiliation to a political party. I want this high to be spiritual.
For more info, go to BeatBreakRadioFM.com.
Beat Break 87 FM wants to help you get the word out on your next community event.
Hey, do you have an upcoming public service announcement that you want listeners to know about? Well, email us the info to psabeatbreak87fm@gmail.com so we can help spread the word. That's psabeatbreak87fm@gmail.com. If your event flyer has the words nonprofit, community, support, charity, and just describes everything about helping our community, please share the special event right here on Atlanta's new underground station, Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives.
When it comes to hip hop,
Don't stop.
R&B, and talk radio. No one does it better than Beat Break 87 FM.
All right. We're back here on the D Hill Radio Show here from 7 till 8. We got another guest in studio with us today. Her video went viral. So we're going to let her introduce herself and tell us about the incident that took place. What's the name of the bowling alley?
Stars and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes. Okay, I was saying that right. Stars and Stripes. So we're going to let you introduce yourself and tell us about what happened that night.
My name is Shanquila Hambrick, and basically I was out enjoying family time for one of my cousin's birthday, and we're bowling and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like the last person to order my food.
Okay.
So I ordered a Long Island iced tea and a Nacho Grande.
Okay.
Once they brought me my Long Island iced tea, it was not a Long Island iced tea. It was water with a splash of Coke, a lemon, and melted ice.
Okay.
I let the waitress know exactly that my drink wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And she said, hold on one moment, let me go get my manager. She came back with the general assistant manager, and I let her know that my drink wasn't right. The general assistant manager said to me, we will not be refixing it, and you're going to pay for it anyway.
And remind everyone that y'all spent like $500 that night at the table.
We spent money there to have fun and enjoy.
But what was her reasoning for not wanting to satisfy a customer? I mean, give you something else to drink or redo your food. What was her reasoning?
She didn't have a reason. That's just how she came at me directly. So I tried reasoning with her, asking if she would refix it. Even some of the other people in the group asked if she would refix it. But she said no, she will not refix it, and they will make me pay for it, basically.
Wow.
As we got ready to leave, she was standing there with the police officers already. And she told the police officers that she said to them, that is her right there. She did not pay for her meal or drink. Now, as I'm walking out the door, you could have stopped me while I was inside.
Yeah.
But you waited till I was all the way gone out the door. I was all the way to my car by then.
Yeah,
and
I saw you, the live video. Yeah, you was.
And I have two officers running behind me. So I turn around and I walk back with them because I hadn't done anything wrong. As I get back in, I have two officers, and this one particular, his name was Charlie Liner. Mm-hmm. He was so rude. And in the video, you hear him say, I don't care about your side of the story, basically. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay or you're going to jail. He tried to call it theft of service.
Okay.
But theft of service is when you eat your food, at least half of your food, and it is correct. Yeah. And then you walk off and not pay. But I did not eat any of the food, and I didn't drink the drink because it was all wrong. So,
how can I say this? What did she want you to, because I feel when I go out and eat something and I taste it, the first thing I do is call the manager over. And even like when I order a drink, I'm calling the manager over.
Right.
And if you're not satisfied with your food or anything, what are you supposed to do? Because you don't want to pay for anything that you did not touch.
Right.
And that was your situation.
Right.
So what did she expect for you to do?
She said regardless, I was going to pay for it.
Wow.
She didn't give me any other option, and neither did the police officer. I thought that at least as an officer, you're supposed to hear both sides of the story.
Yeah.
But the officer said to me, I have no interest in your side of the story.
Okay, and I did hear him say that in the video.
So let me ask you, was there a manager? Because I hear you say assistant manager. Was there a manager there? Not an assistant.
She was the general assistant manager.
Was there a general manager, not assistant?
When I asked for the general manager, she said that he was not there.
Was there a number, a contact information number that could have been provided?
I called that number, and when I called corporate didn't answer the phone, so they called back. Once they called me back, they said to me, before I can even get my story out, he said, oh, I already know the story.
Her side of the story.
And my employees was right. And yes, you did have to pay for it. And then he also said, they said you didn't want the food because of sour cream. And I let him know, I said, sir, I didn't say anything about the sour cream.
But what was her reasoning saying, okay, you don't want to pay for the food? I mean, because you didn't touch it or eat it or anything. So I'm trying to...
I'm still trying to figure out the same thing exactly.
Okay.
And I still haven't got any answers back. Corporate have not even tried to call and apologize. Mm-hmm. So I'm still lost too.
Wow. I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that.
What's the name of the restaurant again?
The name of the establishment was Stars and Stripes Family Entertainment Center.
In regards to the law enforcement that came, do you know the position of these officers?
There was Sergeant Cloud, and the other one was Officer Charlie Liner.
Did we request for a field supervisor to come out?
No.
I would say that should have been one of the first things you asked for, because everybody has somebody that they have to answer to.
Right.
And the fact that they're ignoring your phone calls, now it's time to start putting pen and paper.
Right.
And you want to give them notification of what your intent is. You can talk to me, or you're going to have to answer to somebody else.
Right.
But what we have to do as a people is we have to not allow these injustices to happen to us. We have to be committed to the process of making it right.
Right.
So if someone is telling you, this is what's going to happen, you're going to deal with it. I heard her side. They were right. No, I'm not going to settle for that.
Which is something that I am not settling for. At this point, I am protesting. I am boycotting in silence right now until I can get the big protesting going. As well as making sure I file everything that needs to be filed against the establishment and the officers.
Okay. One thing we want to start with is a formal grievance. And that's where you're going to submit in writing your grievance. And then there you will add your intent, what you intend to do if certain conditions are not met, meaning you will meet with me, you will hear me out, and you will let me know what actions have been taken to correct the situation. Not necessarily saying what you're doing to her per se, but let me know what you're doing. Because I know with law enforcement, there's sensitivity training that they have to complete. You can also ask for that completion certificate. That's public record. Right. Because he's in a public position, public service. If he has completed that training, and under that training he is in violation of what he has been taught, you are more than welcome to file charges against said officer.
Right. I've actually been trying to find out who one of the officers work with, and I still haven't got an answer for that one.
You don't need that. You can call and ask. You can get the report. Because every call they go on, there's a report. The report is going to have the responding officer. The report is also going to have their name. It's also going to have their badge number. It's also going to have their jurisdiction. Under every jurisdiction, there's a field supervisor. Under every supervisor, there's a chief. So you just continue to go up, and it may be time consuming, and it may be a little uncomfortable. You're going to have patience, but know that it can be done, and there are people in place who are willing to make that happen. Yes, who will stand with you and who will fight with you as well. Because I think, Dee, this is one of the moments that we have to be the voice of them.
Yeah, definitely that. And we have a caller.
And we can't allow it to happen.
Definitely that. And we have a caller. Hi, caller.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. I've been following her story on Facebook, and I love that she's staying vigilant. I wanted some of the advice she's getting on protesting, I disagree with, but I understand everybody's not doing activism the same.
Okay.
I love that she's still doing it on social media. I would just advise her, if she could, to get in touch with Rashad Ritchie or Derek Bozeman and really know about protests and how protest is done. Because while they haven't had you on their show specifically, they do this. Okay. Also, Gerald Griggs, if you're familiar with Gerald Griggs, if you could even just get information of how to go about it. I think you're past the point of writing some formal letter. I think that's just me, or calling some field supervisor. I think this has gone past that, and the fact that she was about to get locked up, a field supervisor wouldn't have done anything. They would have been like, okay, you can go to jail and speak to the field supervisor there. That's just my opinion, whatever. But I love that she's staying vigilant. She's making her voice known. She's on YouTube, all of that, because social media is the way a lot of stuff is being fought. Now, we wouldn't even know about half these cases if it wasn't for social media.
So true.
And I think they've been happening for years. We just didn't have social media to know about it.
So true.
And thank God that there's a camera and a voice now, so we can, really try to help brothers and sisters that are doing the thing. I think black people have been fighting and continue to fight. I do think black people are worn out, though. It's really amazing to me that this is stuff like this is still going on.
Okay.
So while some of us may not rise,
and thank you so.
A lot of us are.
Caller, our time is up. We only get an hour, and I do apologize for that. And our time is up, but we do understand what you're saying. I'm gonna make sure personally that she gets in contact with Derek Bozeman.
And Ms. D, they had one more question. They're trying to figure out the name of it again and which location.
The name of it is Stars and Stripes Family Entertainment. The one that I went to was in Stone Mountain off of Mountain Industrial, but apparently there are others as well that are doing the same thing.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank everyone for tuning in to the D Hill Radio Show.
Good night.